I'm in Montreal where I'm dealing with still with lack of power and find myself fortunately somewhere where I can rent. Stuart's in sunny, beautiful Florida. Happy Passover, happy Easter to everyone, and Ramadan Kareem to everybody. For those of you celebrating it, or whatever your religion is, welcome back. For those of you who are new, we're the podcast hosted by Stuart and David. Here we bring you unfiltered, uncensored conversation on a wide range of topics, and today's proof of that, as our podcast is dedicated to giving you that platform to express your opinions, share your thoughts, experiences, and ideas, and hear from a variety of perspectives and truly honest, sincere opinions. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, politics, and so much more. From rants about the absurdity of modern life to discussions about the deeper issues affecting our society. And again, today will be proof of that. Remember, the Rant Network's got you covered. Sit back, relax, enjoy this journey of discovery and exploration. Join us. We are the Rant Network. You know, I'm the kind of guy who sits here as a parent, and I even now, as I've got older kids, my concern is, where are they? What are they up to? You know, not helicopter parenting, but just to kind of being the right kind of parent, teaching them right from wrong, keeping them away from bad things, and always trying to figure out, where are they? Where are they? Even though they may not live in the same city, just get an idea as to where they are so that they can get onto the straight path of right and wrong. But Stuart, it just seems that not every parent buys into this philosophy. And as a result, tragedy can occur. Stuart, what say you on this?
Well, a lot of people who have their lights out in the Northeast, and I hope they find some warmth and some light sooner rather than later. There was a murder, a triple murder in Ocala, Florida, also known as Marion County, and where Sheriff Billy Wood took the airs and decided to speak his mind. Now, Billy Marion is known for being born and raised in Marion County, which is near the Orlando area, just to give you a little bit of perspective on where. And he is an old school soul. He believes that there should be right and wrong, and people should be treated accordingly. I don't believe he believes in participation awards. I believe he raised his kids where if you go to the barber, I'm quoting him, I give permission to the barber to beat my kid if he steps out of tune. That's coming from the sheriff. Now, these three kids were labeled as being part of a gang, and later turned out there were six of them. Two of them have been arrested, a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old. Okay? The three dead teens are also young. Their histories are blocked. Their Mirandizes are different. We treat juveniles very different than we treat adults. Billy also went on, the sheriff, to state that guns don't kill people. It's bad guys get guns. So, reporter asked, where did the gun come from? They broke into a car and stole a gun out of a car. And bad guys will always have guns. Doesn't matter. They'll find them. They'll get them. It don't matter. So the gun's not what killed these three kids. It was the parents of these six kids who didn't know where their kids were. It was the teachers in the school that decided to shelter these, they're just kids. It was a juvenile detention center that had one of these kids the day before and released him. He'll be fine. It is this whole week on being soft on crime that's causing and is the actual main factor in all of the problems that we're actually facing. It's not the gun. It's not the news media. It's the lack of understanding and accountability. Without accountability, he recounted, spoke to two of the mothers of two of the guys that were arrested. Did you know if I knew my kid was doing this, I would have. The digital footprint, the digital knowledge has changed the youth. It really has. But yet we treat them very differently. Someone that causes a problem should be dealt with utter severity. There's something to be said with a stern voice and a stern hand. And coddling, and the coddling of our children is the leading factor, not mental health, coddling. Because there are millions of people with mental health, excuse me, that are constantly being blamed for that's the reason why. It's not their mental health that caused it. It was the passive allowing of them to do, oh, it's okay. They're just, mentally challenged. They've got a disability. They've got an issue. We should just turn the other cheek. No more. There are 3 dead kids. Now, these dead kids may have actually not been so innocent because the 6 of them were in a gang-related robbery that went sideways. We really don't know the facts about that. But that's one fact that Billy, the Sheriff of Marion, made it a point to say. What are the issues? Do we blame, right? Do we blame who, right? Is it a legal issue surrounding juveniles? Do we blame the kids and the schools, the system, guns in society, participation awards versus the reduction of laws? All of these factors are an issue. But the leading factor is you as a parent, and you started this off, David, where are my kids? If you have an iPhone, you have a tracking device. Your kids, you have parenting controls. All your kids are going to shame you. They're going to beat you up. Why are you doing this? Can't trust you. And they're going to find workarounds in technology. So you don't know where. And the police, I don't mean the police, I mean Apple decided your kid is almost like an adult at age 13. The schools think that your children are your children till age 24, until they have a master's degree. The military thinks they're adults at 18. They can vote at 18 in some places, 21 in the United States, right? So you can join the army, but you can't vote. So there's all kinds of issues on what is a child? How do we treat children? What is right and wrong? Is it the school systems that are at fault?
Well,
Maybe. I actually think the school systems are the number one reason why they refuse to teach. Parents are the number 2 reason why.
Well, no, I reverse it.
They trust the schools. They trust the schools to teach the kids right from wrong. When in fact, it's the parents that need to teach the kids right from wrong.
I disagree, Stuart. I think it's reversed.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. A child's upbringing begins at home. We've always heard that. We always knew that. That's been the way it always has been. And to say that it's the school is the number one, no, because parenting is difficult. Their parenting is challenging. Parenting, it takes work. You've heard that. You're a parent.
Yeah, but schools don't report issues.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, because I am a child of a parent. I have my mother was a school teacher for 25 years, and she told me the evolution. I know your wife teaches as well, but my mother and my wife is also a teacher, and I have friends who are teachers, and the difference that it was, once upon a time, the parent and the teacher worked hand in hand to raise a child. Today, the parent wants what the parent wants. It doesn't matter what the school wants. Okay, we are seeing this polling of, should parents have rights? This Parents' Bill of Rights that the Republicans are trying to put forward. Parents are the number one reason why children are not raised properly. Right and wrong begins at home. Values begin at home. And if you're going to show the kid wrong from the beginning, or you're not going to bother the parent, then you say, no, it's not my problem. It's the school's problem. You're telling a stranger.
Hang on a second.
Hold on. Let me get my point across here, okay? You're asking a stranger whom you don't know their value system, you don't know anything about them, and you've decided you brought a child into the world, and you're going to give a total stranger all that responsibility. That's cockeyed. Now, in terms of these kids, Stuart, The fact that they're in gangs and the fact that there were guns and that the fact that this is part and parcel of what I've said about either the education or the lack of education or the lack of care. Okay? Where are the parents? Where is the society? Where's the community to help the kids? Do we have is there an infrastructure? Look, I've talked to somebody about this the other day that one thing that we did as parents is we put our children in sports programs partly because we wanted them to be away from any temptation and from the wrong side. I'm not a model parent. I'm not looking for the accolades, but parenting is not easy. But parents have given up. Parents have given up and have thrown the responsibility to everybody else and said, it's not on me. I was just the seed donor. I was just the bearer of the egg. Who cares? It's not my responsibility. That's where it's wrong. And the fact that 3 were killed, shame on the parents. It's on the parents. I don't care
Well,
if
I
they're
mean, this
teenagers.
is really it's a half a dozen of bad apples. It's
Yeah.
not 3 kids. It's again 6 were the gang trying to elevate to a higher level in a gang, and 3 of them turned on 3, and that's sort of the
Well,
story as are the words from the sheriff today.
but the
But what
sheriff
I'm
said
trying
what?
to say, David,
Who did the sheriff put all the blame on? Who did he blame?
on they blame the parents, they
Yeah.
blame the school system, they blame the legal system,
Voila.
they all issues surrounding juveniles
Right.
are the issue.
Right.
He really does.
But it
It's
starts
not
at
the gun.
home.
It's not because there was a reporter from the audience from one of those famous left wing media networks who wanted to try and get a quote so he can blame the gun. And again, Billy Marion, is a smart guy, and said, "This isn't the gun. This is not about guns. It's not about grieving parents. It's about parents who really just didn't know." Schools that don't communicate all issues, by the way.
Didn't know or
They
didn't
don't
care?
until they elevate
No,
because
didn't
the
know.
teachers don't want to
Stuart,
get involved.
didn't know, or didn't care.
Well, didn't care is another story. That's another
Yeah.
story. That's another
But
conversation.
I'm saying parents, again, when after this tragedy and everybody does their head scratching and everybody's looking for a fall guy, and of course, as you said, the liberals want to blame guns and it's always the gun that shoots it. It's not the gun that shoots itself, it's a person that shoots it. And if you teach or you don't teach the children properly, again, you're right, it's the entire system that's completely a mess. And you know
But
what?
again,
Good.
weak on crime, weak on pushing kids to strive for better education, reducing the standards of passing, lightening up the load
Yeah.
is a major part of this problem,
But
David.
it's another
Again,
there's another aspect. The other aspect is that you have parents who just, you know what, push your kid to do better, try to get them to achieve, try to get them out of this. If you live in this kind of, society, but to say throw your hands up in the air, it's not my problem, it's not my fault, it's not on me, I can't buy that. Sorry, I don't buy it.
David, there's been a lot in this news cycle, and I hope we picked the story that was as least political
Well,
as we
it's not.
possibly could.
And the funny thing, you say it's least political, but people are politicizing it by trying to blame a gun. That's a political statement. We're not putting the blame where the blame is. Parents, schools, culture, education, legal system, community. Like, where are we at this? I don't think we're anywhere near, Stuart, frankly, the where we need to be. And you know what? Shame on the system.
I agree. Shame on all these systems that we talked about.
So,
David,
ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we really appreciate you joining us here on the Rant Network. We hope you enjoyed this conversation, gained some valuable insights. We appreciate your support and hope you'll join us again next time, as we will be back here for more thought-provoking conversations on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, noon Eastern. Meantime, don't forget to follow us on social media. Share your thoughts with us. Love to hear what you think about what happened in Marion County, your comments about parenting and the like. But remember, we're always interested in hearing from our viewers and learning about the topics that matter most to you. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, folks, keep on ranting.